Hey, folks, and welcome to Film Optimists, where we believe since we've been making movies, we've been making good ones. If you haven't seen a good movie in a while, try a different decade, try a different country, or try what we're talking about this week, a different decade in independent cinema. Because today we're talking about Woman Under the
Mm.
Influence by John Cassavetes. I am Seth Boyd.
I am Megan Turney Flores.
And, Megan, honestly, it was really fun. Our last episode of the Gospel according to St. Matthew was the first time in maybe over a year, maybe 2 years, that we both hadn't seen the movie prior to the episode. And
I
so
think so.
it was very, very often I'm forcing you to watch something that I've enjoyed. Um,
No, no,
and
no.
well, thank you. But I thought let's keep this up for a little bit actually. And this was the next highest on my list of movie I've been meaning to watch forever. Woman
Hmm.
Under the Influence, and just John Cassavetes films in general.
Hmm.
So thank you for going this journey with me. But I just wanted to, just for longtime listeners, know usually one of us has seen the movie before, but I'm liking this little role we're on of we're both going in blind relatively. Um, had you heard of this movie before? Did you know anything about John Cassavetes or any of the cast going into this?
I think I went in fully blind. I did not know movie. I didn't know director. And then
Okay.
having watched a little more, I or searching a little more, I learned their connection in this is their connecting piece. They were a husband and wife duo for the
Yeah.
or well, not the actors, but like the director and the our main actress in this,
Yeah.
the true star of this movie were husband and wife, and this was kind of a passion project sort of thing, and it showed. It was a good, I think, introduction to from also what I've seen of here and there, just a little bit of what his like style is. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about it with you too. Fresh
Absolutely.
takes.
Great. So I think we'll give, and again, this is my first Cassavetes movie, but why I was so interested to watch a Cassavetes movie. Some of his accolades. There's an Independent Spirit Award named after John Cassavetes, and that's for a
Oh, I
film
didn't
made
know.
under $1 million. Um, so he is someone who was a prolific actor as well, is probably most famous for being in Rosemary's Baby, at least. I would
Okay.
think that's maybe the most famous role by today's standards. He's also in Dirty Dozen. He was in Rawhide. He was in a lot of things. He
Okay.
had like a detective show, but he did all these acting roles so he can make his own movies. And also in this,
Nice.
like you said, he's his lovely wife Gena Rowlands from Madison, Wisconsin, by the way,
Oh,
is
cool.
the star. And this was conceived together. She wanted to make a she asked John, or rather, she mentioned, I would like to do a play about the struggles the modern woman is going through. He wrote this script, and then they quickly both agreed it'd be too daunting, too emotionally draining to do it as a play, because then you'd have to do it like 8 nights a week.
Oh,
And so they decided to do it as a movie. Um,
wow.
I
Yeah, I can't imagine
right?
having to redo this maybe more than once. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Um, while it is scripted, the Cassavetes style is independent. It's a lot of there's a lot of improvisation
Okay.
in it. There's a lot of non-actors and there's a lot of close friends. Peter Falk plays the husband in this, who's probably most
Hmm.
famous for being Columbo, but is an incredible
Oh, yes.
actor who I always love seeing. It was very close friends with the family, and also my understanding is he put up a good amount of this budget out of his own money to
Mm.
make this movie. Cassavetes directed, I think, 10 or so movies. And
Hmm.
something I found interesting, I looked up a couple different lists of top Cassavetes movies, all the Cassavetes movies ranked. And the orders were completely different, except for number one always had Woman Under the Influence as
Oh,
number one.
really?
So,
Nice. Okay.
um, and I think some of his movies um, can be considered maybe more of a product of the time. This movie, I think, this is not. This is a really interesting movie because this is a movie that came out in 1974. I think
Hmm.
it's very progressive, but I don't want anyone to think this is a feminist statement by today's standards. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
and arguably it is, but it is not the movie that someone would make today trying to make a feminist movie. Uh,
Yeah.
it's not
Hmm.
the substance. or something like that. And even
Hmm.
that movie, people debate about how feminist it is. So, but I think it is pretty strongly feminist. And I think my favorite thing about it is that the condition, the influence this woman is under goes unstated. Um,
Yeah.
this is broad terms here. This is about a working class family, and the woman character, I need to look up her name, Maria, is no,
Um,
Mabel
Fable.
Longetti.
Yes, yes,
Mabel,
yes, yes.
thank you, great name. Mabel is um, a housewife, a mother, and she's just acting strange lately. And acting strange is maybe the most we get to a full diagnosis of what's going on with her. We never she does get, you know, hard to say help, but she does get psychiatric therapy at some points and
Hmm.
attention, but it's not this is a woman with bipolar disorder or this is a woman with schizophrenia
Hmm.
or and it's also not just as simple as this is a woman under the pressures of modern life. At least I didn't think
Yeah.
it was, you know.
Like,
So,
it wasn't full depression, it wasn't full alcoholism. It
right,
was actually kind of a quite a mix of like maybe a lot of things going on,
right.
never a diagnosis, like you say.
You never diagnosed that, and I didn't feel like the movie judged her, um,
I agree.
which I really liked about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, talk more about that if you don't mind. You're the expert of the two of us.
I laugh. It throws me back to my sister's a therapist, folks. So our favorite game ever is just if ever there's mental health issues in movies and being like, is that accurate? Is that like how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And and I mean it's interesting like there really is a lot going on. This it's a there's also dealing with clear like an abusive relationship in a lot of ways and like
Yes.
that comes into play a lot and um just really kind of nitty gritty in the sense of family dynamics of like we're kind of immediately thrust into her big family and the dynamics between her and her mother-in-law and
Yeah.
just being a very big loud uh I like that it's just like a well-established family dynamic n not well in like the sense of good necessarily but just clearly everybody's kind of intermingled here and that might be a part of it too. Um
Right.
but I found it like well first of all the actress was so amazing to watch. I think she really
She
like
was.
gave it her all. Like it felt very I'm kind of glad that it in hearing that it wasn't a play because she was very like nuanced I thought in her facial acting and her embodiment of like all these things
Hmm.
that we're discussing. I think it was pretty quite a feat. I can only imagine that it was. And like and a very emotionally driven performance, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Um, but I and it was kind of like maybe that they're trying to get at an essence, I suppose, of all of these things, and that could I don't feel that it cheapened it like at all like you say
Hmm.
like I think it was a little bit of a portrait of it all sort of that came through um but they man they like they really touch on a lot I guess I would say
Yeah.
I was the overall feeling that I got from it.
It really reminded me of Autumn Sonata, for a movie we've
Mm,
covered
that's a good
before
comparison, yeah.
because that movie, there's and I want to let me say something first, Claire. You're right. The husband is abusive. The husband hits her at several points. The husband is an asshole, and
Hmm.
I don't. And I think the husband is this particularly. I don't think this is a re-diagnosis of it. I think the husband is written very much to be an asshole, but
Yeah.
also to be a real guy, to be a working class guy who does love his wife and does
Yeah.
not know what to
Hmm.
do, doesn't have the tools, and is also at the beck and call of his own mother. and is also the
Yes.
beck and call of the city. What his job actually was, I was unclear on.
He works in a mine. I don't know
he,
what that was.
we know that
I
there's a water line breaks, and that's his problem to fix. But also,
That's
he's like in
funny.
a quarry. So
Yeah.
that is
He
from,
he wears a varsity jacket to work. Also
yeah.
interesting.
I will
I
say,
thought
I thought the guys really looked like working class guys, and I thought they embodied
agreed.
that. And I think the crew shots work, but having a working class father, I was like, what? This is a,
It's true. Well, and I agree with this the family dynamic could be that felt very realistic as well. Like that
yes, yes.
it could happen basically.
Hmm. But I think there are times where you understand his frustration and you understand his mother's frustration with Mabel. She's like, you're drinking too much, and she is drinking. You
Hmm.
know, drinking is, I think, a symptom, not a cause. So why is she drinking? And the first, we should get into this a little bit plot wise because otherwise we're going to be talking vaguely. The first thing that happens here is she is sending the kids off with her in-laws, or is it her parents? I can't remember. One of the grandparents is taking the kids for the night, and it's supposed
Hmm.
to be romantic connection night for husband and wife,
Oh yes.
and he's got to work late. And um, not only does he have to work late, he loudly declares at the bar in front of everyone on the phone, "We're not doing it. We're not working." And the next thing you know, they're doing it. They're working.
Uh-huh.
He does
Hmm.
not have a chance to call her to let her know. He says he doesn't have a chance, but that's questionable because I mean he's on the phone at the bar. He, you know, he probably could have called, so not great. He doesn't get it. He doesn't actually call her for quite a while.
Hmm.
Um, and she's been kind of drinking by herself this whole time, waiting for him to come home. She's uh, clearly loves her kids and is a little, I think, clearly neurotic from the get-go of some minor things of just, I don't want to say obsession, but
Hmm.
concern for the kids being away for a little bit. But then once she's alone, she's just kind of pounding the hams. And I can't remember if it was gin or what it was. But
Hmm.
bottom line is, she ends up at a bar. She ends up being assaulted by someone who spends the night with her.
Hmm.
And I would say assaulted. I don't think it's consensual. But she brings
Yeah,
someone back
clearly
home
drunk.
to,
Hmm.
yeah, she's clearly not in her facilities to make that decision.
Hmm.
But she brings them to her house. And I really thought there was going to be more of a confrontation with that guy and with the husband, but he's kind of gone by the
I
time
know.
husband
He slips
arrives.
away.
And then husband arrives with the entire work crew and says, "We haven't eaten yet." And so she quickly goes into uh, mother mode and makes
Yeah.
housewife mode and makes pasta for like 12, 13 guys, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I Megan, that we haven't talked about this on the podcast. Do you do much of the cooking in your household?
I yeah, we are notorious eater out. Like we go out to eat
Yeah.
as well. So that's kind of
Nice.
let's get that clear, folks.
Mhm.
But I mean I would say yes. I would say yes.
Yeah.
We're getting into our meal kits and everything, like boxes
Yeah.
and stuff. So that's been real that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I mean yeah. But
Okay. Ann and I have a I think Ann and I have a more even split than most couples,
yeah,
but it can really vary by week. Um,
it's true. Hmm.
so like there are some weeks where I cook nearly every meal. And it partially depends on who does the shopping and what we're craving. Like I have a much
That's
simpler set of skills. All that to say, as someone who cooks dinner regularly for two and takes satisfaction in that, but also gets stressed out by meal planning for two, the idea of
yes,
cooking anything for like a dozen men
on the fly.
who on the fly who just entered my house
Hmm.
at who knows what ungodly hour, my nightmare. The idea of there's all these people here and I'm expected to feed them insane. And so this is where you
I'm
get some of the balance of Yeah, we can kind of understand why she's like this. Her husband is, this is not the first time, presumably, that he's pulled this move.
Oh,
Um, I mean, that was my impression. Did you think that was the first time, or do you think this has happened before?
oh, oh, that's a good question, actually. Because she was so, she didn't question that, like you say, literally 12 people being in the house or like
Yeah.
coming over. And she gives a spiel of, I love these guys. So, towards the, as a fight breaks out, because of
Yes.
them coming over. So actually,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I feel like it's happened before.
I
Maybe
agree.
just, yeah.
Well, and one of the like concerning behaviors is she goes kind of back and forth, being like, "Oh, it's so great, all the guys are here. What's your name again?" You know, and
Yeah.
asking the same guy repeatedly what his name is, and
And hey, handsomes.
yes,
And
exactly. And one guy does just grab her ass, and she, you
true.
know, screams at him, but then still says, you know, what kind of pasta do you want, or something to that effect. And it's like that's crazy.
A lot
Why
of
is that not shut down?
lot of male friend kissing her like on the
Yeah.
cheeks, and it's truly I mean a different time obviously, evidently, but and just
Yes.
the dynamic is real wild, like right from the
Yeah.
start.
It is.
Hmm.
It is. And but I think what I really like about, to speak to his and we should mention John Cassavetes, I think I already mentioned, wrote the screenplay as well as directed this.
Mm.
Um what as chaotic as this sequence is, there's a lot of joy in it. Like there's a lot of laughs and kind of fun beats happening while there
Hmm.
is this crazy
Yeah.
pasta breakfast, and there's a scene that I enjoyed of an old Italian guy starts singing an opera and he does okay, and then he's kind of overshadowed by what turns out to be an African American guy singing the same opera much better, and everyone starts
Yep.
clapping for him. And that was just kind of a fun, you know, reverse of expectations. And
Yes, the
um,
star, the
but
breakout
yeah,
star.
exactly. But you know, and it is a diverse cast of like you'd expect for a working crew. You have Native Americans, you have African Americans, you have quite a few Italians, and I think that's pretty representative of Los Angeles white collar, or sorry,
Yes.
blue collar work at the time. So that's the type of detail that feels like an indie film. That's the type of detail a major movie still gets wrong, I think. Also, like, I thought their house was great,
I
but
agree.
that's but they're also like they're sleeping in the living room. You know, like their bedroom is like a Murphy bed
Hmm.
situation, or like a pull-out couch in the living room. And
True. Yeah, there's kind of weird sign. I've seen, I guess I was trying to think of that private sign on the bathroom door, and that
yes,
feels kind of like a public. I was like, what? I didn't understand that almost at
I
first, and
think
it's
that's
kind
I
indicative
have
of like a
seen that
public
before
space.
for
Yeah.
I've seen that, and my understanding is what drove that to go up was being really driven crazy by toddlers trying to get into the bathroom while you're in the bathroom.
Interesting. I feel like I've seen it
But
before too, but yeah, I just
but
it
yeah,
kind
it is
of,
odd and funny that there's a private sign on the bathroom.
yes. Yeah, so it's just little touches like that going on.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot emotionally happening here that is engaging, and there's enough um but it's also very awkward, and there's a lot of like awkward laughs throughout this movie. Um
Hmm.
this movie I think is also, I'm gonna compare it to a few other movies. It's maybe up there uncut gems as one of the most like stressful, most uncomfortable movies I've ever
Ooh.
seen. Um, because you are watching a woman have a breakdown the whole time, and some very strange social things happening, that it was generally more distressing than several horror movies I've seen. I should say a
Yeah.
lot of horror movies, but
Yep.
also throughout there would be a organic laugh, and it was very
Yeah.
strange, and that it kind of added, in kind of an Ari Aster way, added a strangeness to it that I really appreciated.
That's
But
well said.
all that, you go ahead, sorry.
You know what just like jogged my memory too, which we've talked about a little bit. is like a marriage story, is a
Yeah, yeah,
pure drama that is like just unrelenting in
right,
like how terrible these people are and like how horrible life is. And I
right.
remember both of us kind of just not jiving so much with that movie because of like
No,
that's literally just not, it's so inaccurate almost. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure that I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe it's a time. I don't know if I can rewatch it, man. It's like that. That's how like depressing it left you feel. And this one,
right. Well, we're
I think
also
it's
both
well
happily
said.
married, Megan.
That's
So,
well, that's another part of it, Seth. I'm glad you brought it up because like
right,
this is just the most terrible depiction of marriage anybody could ever see in their whole life.
yeah, right,
But other movies have done that, like you say, and I think it's a good. I think it's worth it to mention that like
yeah,
it's indie in the sense that it's quite realistic, I guess, in that regard.
yeah. I think so. I think I think it's very realistic for what's going on.
Yeah. Like
Um,
Marriage Story to me is like how big can you get acting? Like is maybe
right.
the mentality going through it and I don't know, how emotionally big can you get, but this is kind of like um it is emotionally big from the actors, of course, but like they're doing big performances and like good performances, I would say, but like
Yeah.
it's just a little bit more nuanced.
There's definitely more nuance, whereas like Marriage Story kind of all comes down to the scene of them yelling at each other, I feel like.
That's all I can think of.
And Marriage Marriage Story, I just think you're like, these people don't give a shit about their kids,
Yeah.
and okay, we're gonna go on a little bit of a side note here, a tangent, but among the things that drove me crazy about it was this everyone who liked Marriage Story described it as, oh yeah, that's what divorce is like. And among the people who most
I
famously did
know.
this was Nicolas Cage, a man who's been
Oh.
divorced a couple times. But it's also like divorce is like being served papers and then ignoring them for like 4 months until now it's a problem.
Hmm.
Like that is a you problem. That is that is not
Yeah.
the way to respond to being
Very
served legal
self-revealing.
documents. Yeah, exactly. So it's like 90% of the conflict that happens in Marriage Story happens because Adam Driver ignores the divorce papers.
Yeah.
This could have been a no lawyers involved, easy, bit bap done, wash your hands of it. But I do think I do actually like as a performance. I like the lawyers in Marriage Story, like Laura Dern. I always love,
Oh,
and Ray
gosh.
Liotta's fun. But
Hmm.
they're also I don't. I feel like they're kind of presented to be these monstrous villains who were just going being money grabby. But it's like yeah, but you're bad people who went there,
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, and also, I
so
mean, that's their
that's
job.
yeah,
So,
exactly. That's their job. If I'm
yeah,
paying top bucks
people's,
for the lawyer who's gonna be a divorce lawyer, I better get the house, you know?
yeah, people's takes on it are strange.
Yeah.
It's very fun to
I think
rag
there's a
on.
handful of movies, and that's one of them. And oh man, what's the Eyes Wide Shut is another one that's like I don't relate to this because I'm happy, and
Mm,
I am happy in my marriage, and so I don't need this.
yes.
So I don't feel these escapist fantasies. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
um,
Hmm.
which I want to go back to the Peter Falk. I think does a great job of this movie of being not handling it well, but clearly handling a lot.
Yeah.
He has
Hmm.
a busy job. He's maybe almost got the impression he's the unofficial like union head, but he's definitely speaking for the team, and when it's time to
Hmm.
go to somebody's, when it's we just worked an all-nighter and we're all hungry, it is on him. He's the one who steps up and says, "We're going to my house. We're cooking." Um, and
Hmm.
which is obviously a lot to ask of it to demand of his wife, but is as a coworker or a boss, very cool thing to do.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but he's also, he's the one who's speaking for them as a unit. So he has that, and then his mother is going for I can't remember what, but there's that kind of moment where or a few moments where he needs to go be there for her. It sounds like she's dying, and he's battling his
Uh-huh.
wife who he doesn't understand. So I think the movie does a really good job of depicting, and Peter Falk in particular does a good job of this dude's taking on a lot and he's not doing well with it.
Hmm.
And again, not really judging him because he definitely lashes out. He does hit her at several points. He's in the wrong at many points, including, of course, the violence.
Hmm.
But I think the
Yeah.
movie isn't just look at this villain, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for her, I mean, it's hard for her too. Like I go back and forth of I think they kind of prop up the husband, especially you think of the time and she's a
Yeah,
work a single mom, like stay-at-home mom, which was way more super common then and they prop up him and I'm sure like more of the plot line going in is like propping him up as like Mr. Man husband and
right.
look at the pitfalls of him having to deal with this lady basically this wife and
Right, right.
but they really don't um I almost like I almost thought it was that at first when she's meeting everybody that she was like on the spectrum maybe or like that's how they were kind of
Sure.
setting her up that she was so alienated from
Hmm.
his the normalcies of like his sphere, I suppose. But I don't quite know where I was going with that, but just that I'm sure that more that plot line of here's crazy wife, here's working husband trying to deal with it, like
Hmm.
was maybe the catalyst that like audiences maybe expected from the movie and then I think it is I I do think it's more than that like that what got depicted ultimately which is
Yeah.
refreshing but I mean I'm sure that was a
Hmm.
part of it I just it had to have been
Yeah, he's very defensive of her. I think pretty early he has the line of she's not crazy. We're not calling her that.
yeah
And
that's a part of it too yes
one of my favorite lines in the whole movie is when he shows up with the whole crew. Somebody says she's not having one of her headaches, is she? Which is such a great indicator of like they've something's happened before many a
oh yeah
times where it's a known excuse of she can't come out tonight or we get you all gotta go, she's having a headache or something like that. But
hmm
also I thought that was kind of generous of the guy to give the out of,
yeah
thank you. I also would like a free meal. Sounds great, but also, are you sure? You know, are
yes
you
yeah
are
yeah
you
yeah
sure she's up for it, man? Um, so I enjoyed that quite a bit. But um kind of going over the plot here, broad strokes. Well, actually, I should back before we get into plot. I want to give maybe some more examples of her erratic behavior. We have the drinking,
sure
we have the bringing the stranger home. She's also just kind of randomly singing a few times,
yes
like several times throughout it. Um, she's doing she's doing a lot of really strange things, and I thought it was just a kind of perfect calc. And part of this is it's the 70s, so we knew a lot less about mental health. But I would
hmm
be actually be very I was curious if you watched this with your sister and if she got her diagnosis of what she
I
has,
know
because
and yeah, I don't know if I could pinpoint it necessarily. Like,
yeah,
it's very unrecognizable almost.
because there's a lot of just really strange erratic things that she does, and just like the randomly singing is one of them. And at one point, she's just loudly talking about, have you seen Donna's ass? Donna's ass is incredible. And
Oh yeah.
just doing some very strange. Um, she arranges a play date with her kids and some other friends' kids, and is just behaving so erratically that the father who's dropping the kids off is like, I don't think I can leave my kids here with you.
Yeah.
And the kids are just running around naked. It's just chaos and very odd,
Yeah.
and I would also be, I don't know, this movie made me really glad I don't have kids. Just,
Dude,
uh,
and just that like probably that they yeah, if it was a pretty clear like family dynamic from 70s-esque like family dynamic
yes,
of that traditional
yeah,
that kind of thing. Traditional working class, I guess, that kind of thing. And then
right,
having this di the difficulties of mental health on top of all of
right.
that and like some pretty severe mental health is like
Hmm.
oh my God.
But shortly after the failed play date, she's um forcibly taken to a mental hospital.
Hmm.
And um, I think there's some dialogue mentioning that shock treatment was part of it and routine and pills,
Yeah.
etc. But and then you have some great stuff of Peter Falk trying to be single super dad. And
Hmm.
I love the sequence of him just deciding we're going to the beach. God damn it, kids, we're going to the beach. And just the worst beach day. It looks cold, it looks windy.
Yeah.
He needs
He
to
says,
rely on somebody else to drive him there.
bring a sweater, please.
Bring a sweater
Children.
to the beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do not look to have fun. He lets them all sip. Also, I thought this was made for me in particular because well, I'm not particularly a beer fan. Ham's beer has a particular fondness for me because it's from Minnesota, but there's several bars out here that serve it.
Oh,
And I've never seen it in a movie before, so that it was ham specific. And it's a very cheap beer. It is a divey
really?
cheap
Mm.
beer. Um,
Ah,
I have
true
a
to true to
yes,
form.
exactly. I have a t-shirt that says abolish ice, but it looks like a Ham's t-shirt. It's like done like their logo.
Cute.
So it's pretty fun.
Love.
Yeah.
Go Minnesota.
But yeah, love that Ham's is the beer they're drinking throughout this.
Okay.
He lets all the
Love
kids
that.
sip on his beer. All the kids get drunk because they're
Yep.
tiny, so just absolute terrible dad shit.
And
Um,
drinking a lot, not stopping after one sip
right.
like a
They're
normal
also just
person.
like in the back of an open bed truck.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
it was a different time, but my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's not he's trying to cheer them up, and I thought he did such a great job in those scenes of trying to cheer up the kids, but being so horrible at it.
Yeah.
Whereas mom
That.
is fun. The kids were having fun at the party that mom was throwing. It was
Hmm.
chaotic, but kids were having fun. Um,
Yeah, it's very quietly sad too. She's very concerned about being a good mother and
he is.
part of her or like in her delusions too, she like asks her kids like what do you think of me? So she's like
Yeah,
she has the wherewithal
yeah.
to kind of know that the
Hmm.
I to be aware of that this is not probably good for these kids and she wants
Right.
their opinion and they're like literally 5 years old, so she
Y-
there's insecurity there.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So ultimately, after 6 months in the mental hospital, they welcome her back, and it goes pretty rough initially. Husband has a big party to welcome her back, which is a mistake. It's overwhelming. Most of them
Yep.
leave by the time she actually gets there, and
Hmm. Bad idea.
um,
Not not great
bad
thinking.
idea in general. Yeah, not having been in the mental hospital, I did not want to party when I left.
Hmm.
Um,
I thought of friends too, where I'm like, I
yeah,
don't even in I just don't I'm not their partner, and I would know that that's not the, the right thing to
right.
do.
Exactly. And just a strange dynamic. Some people were giving him shit for there not being enough booze at the party, and parking's a nightmare at the party, and it's all
Mm,
a mistake. And um,
as it always is. Like
yes. And then
like
ultimately
normal
she
shitty party is
right.
elevated.
Um, they end up having a fight that night after the people leave, and then the movie
Hmm.
just and I don't know, violently like she accidentally cuts herself on a razor, I think.
Hmm.
And then the movie just kind of ends with them calm and going to bed. Uh, and I really liked this
Yes.
ending because it's like, well, this is not done. This is um
Uh-huh.
this is not resolved. This is we fought the day and we're done with the day, and tomorrow's going to be another battle. And
Yeah.
um and there's the hope that we can have a resolution and have some good days here, but it reminded me, I've been reading a lot of Henrik Ibsen lately, and it just reminded me of one of his plays of like, well, this is not exactly resolved.
Oh
There's
no.
there's
Yeah.
some more, there's more pain to come here. But I thought it was a really beautiful ending that it just ends with them calm, going to bed, loving each other, but still a lot unsaid, a lot undone. And again, with that autumn sonata of we've had this big blowout thing and nothing's solved.
Yeah.
So.
the phrase like slice of life comes to mind, and
Yeah.
I think so, that tends to have like a honky-doriness to it, maybe. But
Hmm.
like this is truly a chunk, if you will, of these
Yes.
people's very very difficult life, and there's
Right.
no there's no necessarily like a resolution. It's just all these things are kind of happening to these people.
Yeah. Yeah, so ultimately what were your thoughts? What did you think of the movie? Did you enjoy it? Do you think it holds up?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm enjoying talking about it. We always just I get, of course, so much more like in kind of discussing things with friends, and we've done this for so
Yeah.
many years. It just helps. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's important to note like it's a rough it's a pretty rough watch. Like
Yeah, it is.
it's kind of seeing these this woman kind of stuck. Well, I get and these people stuck uh in what life's kind of dealt them, and it's so that's a little and there's just of course like I talked about, like I think that I think truly it does a good job of not making Mabel like the butt of any joke, and it is very I thought
Yeah,
the way
that's true.
that the friends or like his coworkers handled her was uh it was realistic, but I don't think that
Hmm.
there was no like true maliciousness like going
Hmm.
on. Um so it was realistic, but I it it's I mean it's hard to see people kind of go through it and um in this intense of a it actually it was her performance and her maybe just like
Yeah.
her embodiment. It kind of reminded me of like Marilyn Monroe, like in the like a latter
Sure.
Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe.
Yeah.
I don't just visually she's a blonde, gorgeous lady,
Hmm.
but
Sure.
and she's going through so much. She cares about her kids. She's wanting love and like physical love in that way if she's feeling neglected. So there was
Hmm.
a lot of like, and I think I bring her up because Marilyn sometimes maybe can also be compared to like I thought of the title too, like a woman under the influence, and she's her tragedy of Marilyn is kind of pinned up in that regard of like sort of a woman's demise in that way, and
Yeah.
like a similar demise of mental health of self loathing or whatever it may be going on. So I don't know, I thought of the two, and it's tragic, and um in it's like you say, like there's no we don't have a happy ending here, folks. Like it's true slice of life in that regard. So it was I'm just also just what a good performance too. Like
Yeah.
you have to tout that.
Absolutely. I think it's one of the all-time performances. Gena Rowlands was incredible, and I'm kind of regretting we didn't say her name out loud more because she was truly fantastic in this. But
I
I
learned
feel like,
after the fact, she was in
oh,
The Notebook.
she was what? She was in the
She
Notebook?
was she was the older woman in The
Oh,
Notebook.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
I want
Huh.
I watched it really brief, so I apologize, but I think maybe either the director was a part of he was involved in The Notebook in some way, so that's how she got involved, basically.
Okay.
Either yeah. So, but that was very interesting.
That is interesting. She's also in one of my favorite Jim Jarmusch movies, Night on Earth. There's an anthology movie with a bunch of vignettes. Her and
Ooh, oh yeah.
very tiny Renata Ryder are in a scene together. They're great. But
Mm.
no, I think her performance was great, and I just really enjoy this. I think it's just like the type of movie that people strive to make and just haven't made sense. I feel
Yep.
like this is um I feel like this was a stronger case study, a stronger story about women than I've seen in recent years. I am really hard
Yeah.
pressed to think of something that is this. nuanced and this realistic, this grounded with this
Yeah.
good of acting. There's, I mentioned the substance, which is flamboyant and fun and crazy, but this is the opposite of that. This is grounded.
And even too about like ter really terrible marriages, obviously too. Like
Sure.
well, there's nuance to that. I think
Yeah.
sometimes you get that one spouse or the other is just this insane monster that it's
Yes.
like it's so unbelievable. Why would you ever be with that?
Right.
How can anybody stay with that person? But like we say, like there's so much more to it. We're both happily married, so we don't deal with that really. But
Mhm.
and seeing these like insane monsters like of people is pretty unrealistic, and this one was they're also very loving to each other. They
Yeah.
hug and kiss and are affectionate
Hmm.
and navigate that during mental health issues and
And he
through.
defends her a lot when she's not there, which I
Yes.
like. He's like, no, 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 she's not crazy. Let's not talk
Hmm.
about her. There's that sequence where everyone kind of knows she's been shipped off, and it's the last sequence to talk about, but everyone asks him about it. Um,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
that sucks, but that's also, I don't know. I generally was talking with my wife Anna about like, I think it's worse if no one says anything. I think it's
Literally, yeah.
if no one says anything to you, that's like this is a tangent, but the inspiration for the novel Fight Club was that Chuck Palahniuk showed up to work with a beaten, bruised face after an
Mm.
incident, and
Hmm.
no one said anything about it. That's interesting. It's interesting that no one is commenting or no one's asking me how my weekend was, and
Yeah.
so that was the inspiration for it. So um, again,
Oh,
just think
that's
of it like,
interesting.
yeah, if
Hmm.
if everyone knows your wife was sent to a mental institution and no one says how you holding up, I'd rather hear how you holding up 20 times from 20 different people than nothing. You know?
I think it was. I think a lot of the script is very smart. It was a exercise in other people's reaction to like
Yes.
being this ball of crazy and
Hmm.
living in LA, working in LA, being a family
Yeah.
oriented person. Like that is I think
Mm.
like that's a little bit of an expansion for an indie movie. Some of them can be really bogged down in the relationship and
Right.
that dynamic, which it can have a lot of dynamics, of course, but like it's kind of it's an important necessity of
Yeah.
how others are reactive to you as well, and that shapes that shapes a lot of the uncomfortability.
No, absolutely.
Mm.
Well, here's the real question for you. Are you going to watch more John Cassavetes?
I think so. I'm actually pretty surprised that not that I didn't like it, but that people said that this was his best, just because I've seen other in my other little like outside researches, I saw stars mention everything but this movie really. Like
Oh,
I
interesting.
some yeah, so I was just surprised that it didn't come up after you said that. So
Yeah.
yeah, go. We'll see what else is going on. I appreciate the background story too, that of everything that we love. He's doing this out of passion projects and
Yeah.
was an actor partially to make the movies that he wanted to make. So
I should,
we
I
love
should
that.
I should clarify. He and Gena Rowlands were together till his death. And one of my
Mm,
favorite Hollywood anecdotes is I think I mentioned he, being John Cassavetes, was in Rosemary's Baby, directed by, oh God, how am I forgetting his name? Asshole. Roman Polanski. And Roman Polanski on set made some very odd comments about, you and me, we're men. We
mm.
desire women and we get tired of women. And so we always are sleeping with new people. And John Cassavetes is like, what the fuck are you talking about? I love my wife. She's more beautiful to me every day. I can't even fathom what you were just saying to me. Also,
That's pretty good.
John Cassavetes is like a foot taller than Roman Polanski. Physically, it's more intimidating guy saying like, "What are you talking about, you schmuck?"
Yeah.
So by all accounts, a very happy marriage. So
Nice. That's good. We like to hear that.
yes, indeed. All right, let's get to our recommendations. And I will warn you, I actually have two because I have two that are thematically
Ooh.
related.
Well, I'd love
Uh,
you to go first, Seth, if that's
okay.
okay.
The first one is Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. I think
Wait, that sounds very familiar.
it's a Martin Scorsese movie. I think it's his third movie. No, it's his fourth movie.
Okay.
It's right after Mean Streets, and
Mm-hmm.
a very great feminist movie from, and I would, by those standards, by today's standards, this is Ellen Bernstein is a bored housewife whose husband abruptly dies, and they she has a like 12-year-old son, and she used to be a singer. She gave that up for marriage and is now trying to make it as a singer again and trying to just figure out, refinding her own passions for life and being a single mother.
Hmm.
And it was fantastic. It's really different for a Scorsese movie, but it's really
Hmm.
well done. Chris Christopherson's in it too, Diane Ladd. Very little Jodie
Wow.
Foster is hilarious and great in it as this kind of rapscallion who befriends the son. But I thought this is a movie from a similar era, actually, I think literally the same year. Um, and that covers some similar territory about like women's struggles. And a big kind of plot thing that happens is she's not able to make it as a singer for a while. She has to work at a diner and deals with that
Hmm.
difficult lifestyle. And yeah, it was just really well done. And it has a happy ending,
Nice.
but it was very well done. And then the second recommendation I have is the Werner Herzog's movie, My Son, What Have You Done? This is
Ooh.
maybe the most off-putting movie that I love. It's one of my favorite movies. Most people that I've made watch it do not comprehend why I like it. But for my connection to this is it's the only other movie I can think of that I love that deals with mental illness in an undiagnosed way. The plot,
Okay.
it's based off a real story of a man who starred in a play where his character killed his mother with a sword, and the actual man did kill his actual mother with a sword. And
Oh.
um, there's a lot going on here. It's mostly a fucked up, strange hostage situation. Michael Shannon is the lead. Willem
Mm-hmm.
Dafoe is in it as the lead investigator. Michael Pena is in it. Brad Dourif. Um, Chloe Sevigny and who else?
Mm.
Udo Kier. It's and David Lynch produced it, executive produced it. It's one of my favorite movies.
Huh.
It's very strange, but it is and in casting Michael Shannon, Werner Herzog said there's no one else in Hollywood who can play mental illness without playing clinical, without being a specific thing. And so that's why I cast him. And I think it's a great depiction of just mental illness broadly. And that serves the story rather than we're talking about PTSD, we're talking about schizophrenia, etc. So,
Wow. Okay, so both of them are related in
yeah, so they're both
for
related to this movie for completely different reasons.
for
Yeah.
different yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it looks cool. I do like the even just the art that
I'm probably gonna
it's
make you watch this movie with me at some point because it's literally my favorite movie.
great.
Yeah.
Let's add it. Let's add it
Yeah.
to the list.
We've already done two Herzogs, which is not enough because the man's made 78 movies. So,
That's cool. Well, I was racking my brain basically, Seth, because I come in a little bit empty-handed for Rex because I've been and this one was a the movie we discussed today is like such
yeah.
a departure. We've been really hitting the cinema, the theater basically
Mm.
of new
Good, good,
releases
good.
and it's been fun. I it's not been amazing. I was thinking about Project Hail Mary, which we
Sure.
saw, and which but I was like, it's not quite there for a recommendation.
Okay, fair enough.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
But in true Megan fashion, I think I'm just gonna throw the biggest blockbuster out that of what I'm excited for. I'm gonna go see early screening, which I wonder if Seth even knows. But I got early tickets to the Michael Jackson movie,
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
this is the biggest like 360 180 from what we just talked about. Basically,
Yeah.
this is like a a fat blockbuster, truly kind of ugly. I think it looks a little bit like crazy. The
Yeah.
like it's very blown out IMAX-y looking. But I'm a really big Michael Jackson fan, so I'm just excited for that.
That's awesome.
I think it'll be good. I'm really excited. We'll see how it goes and I'll report back, folks. But yeah,
Yes, please do.
I'm a little hopeful. It's the same producer as the one who did Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
Like biopic, which I did enjoy, like from the a few biopics that I've seen. I thought they
Yeah.
handled like the emotional aspect of Freddie Mercury very well, and I didn't really care about Queen or Freddie Mercury that much, and it really made me like seated for that, like kind of like sat
Yeah.
for his story. So I think that's what I'll go for today. I'm excited to report back
I
to you
love it.
guys.
I love it. This is not the first time you've called your shot like this of your pick has
And
been a movie you
it's
haven't seen yet.
I know who I am and what I like, and that's what's
Yeah.
coming. That's what's down the line. So
I
we'll
think
see.
one of the most surprising things to me about people is despite being a bisexual man who loves glam rock,
Hmm.
I don't care for Queen that much. I
Yeah,
don't dislike
yeah,
them, but I've never listened to an album. Maybe I would love them if I like sat down and listened to a couple albums or something, but
yeah.
who has the
Hmm.
time, you
I
know?
like more even the I same like the music kind of whatever, but like I sort of like the lore, the fashion,
Yeah, the lore is
the icon
great. Like
the
Freddie Mercury's cool as
iconicism.
hell. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
very interesting.
Well, speaking of calling shots, do we want to declare what our next movie will be? Because we talked about one in particular.
Sure, we can tease that if you'd
Yeah,
like.
I think we're gonna finally do Yorgos Lanthimos, and we're gonna do Begonia next. So,
Sure. Yeah, that was
does
our
that work
toss
for you,
up.
Megan?
That
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Okay,
That was our
perfect.
toss up between this one. I am glad. Oh, you haven't seen Begonia yet?
No, I have seen it now. Yeah,
You have seen it. Okay, okay.
but it'll
Hmm.
still count as we both watched it for the episode. I watched it because I wasn't sure if you want to do that episode or this episode.
Okay,
So,
perfect. Oh, okay, perfect.
yeah.
That's what it was.
So
Okay.
we're doing three movies in a row where I watched it for the podcast, not because I had seen it already.
Look at us, guys.
Yeah, incredible. We'll keep it going.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. I've heard good things. I'm excited for it too.
Okay, fantastic. I watched every other Yorgos Lanthimos movie and waited to watch this
Yes.
last. So
Sweet.
I will come to it with
Oh,
a heavy base of knowledge of the Greek freak, as
my
we
favorite. That's
yeah,
very helpful, always.
perfect. All right, folks. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. Check out this movie. I highly recommend it, and I can't speak highly enough about how good Gena Rowlands is in it, um, and how sympathetic it is. So that's my last word for it.
Well said. Take care, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Bye.